All right, 3, 2, 1, go. It says so. We are going. It is 1:30, December 22nd at 2024. So this year is almost gone, and I am sitting here working on a few things. Just FYI, I put out a message at my local comic shop saying that I am going to get rid of all of my Warhammer 40K stuff for the most part. Maybe not all of it. I'm definitely going to keep my Deathcore Krieg army and some of my, Still Legion army and stuff like that because just too much, what's it called? Nostalgia and stuff in it. But a lot of newer stuff I bought definitely is going to be going away. So, yeah. Um, And if any of you guys watching this happen to be in the Central Florida region and you're all like, hey, I might be interested in some of that, then, hit me up on Discord or something. We'll work out a price or something. I mean, I'm already planning on basically doing everything 50% off. So like the Stampa, which was normally like 100 and however much bucks, I'll let that thing go for like, I don't know, $70 or something. Mainly because I've already, primered it black. It's, used miniatures never really sell for as much as they are when they're brand new. Now, the night figures, I'm going to probably do them at half off too. And the only thing they've been done is built and primered silver. So, uh, if you're wanting some knights, you want to put together a knight army. Well, I have a knight army with armatures and the whole 9 yards that I am going to get rid of. I have to start getting rid of a lot of stuff around here. How you doing, James Lowry? Mainly because eventually, in the not too distant future, it's still going to be a little while, but not distant future, the wife and I will be moving up north, which is going to be a sad time because we've got a lot of friends down here and everything. So, uh, of course, up there I've got like a horde of family members, and I would be within an hour's drive of Hungar's place. So I expect I would be seeing Hungar a lot, almost every weekend, unless his wife's down. So, so it'll be good. It'll be good. And so far we've done pretty good with the house. So we should be able to sell it for a lot more than we paid for it when we bought it. So that'll be nice. We'll be able to build or buy something pretty nice up there. And there's Lethodis. Lethodis, the invite into the stream is already there. So you must be trying to get my attention because I'm not looking directly. I see now, said the blind man. Hey,
Hello. How's it going?
pretty good. I was just rambling on about how I got to get rid of a bunch of stuff because I'm going to be
Moving?
moving. Probably it's still a year away, but I need to start. I have so much stuff. A year may not even be enough time.
Kind of know how that feels.
So, I mean, the good news is if I don't get rid of all of it, I have friends down here that I can just like, whatever I don't manage to sell, I can just be like, all right, these are yours now. Bye. You know,
Yeah.
of course, they'll have to, I guess, my bro will end up taking over the spot as the story and teller in chief of this area. and that could be really cool. Squirrel Hermit, how you doing? Good day, Mobius. I hope everything's great up in the frozen north. Actually, Squirrel Hermit's in the frozen north too,
Yeah.
even though not quite the frozen north that Mobius is in. But it's definitely frozen up there. Uh, my mom and Hungar left, which sucks, especially since Hungar was in the hospital for like 5 days, which was cool because it meant, that my mom had to stay an extra 5 days. But it was not cool because when he got out of the hospital, they're like, hey, we need you to, go home so that you're, where am I moving? Eastern Kentucky. There is a small chance that could be Eastern Tennessee. See, I own property in Kentucky, so that would be handled. It's like I already own around 30 acres of land up there, and I'm sure I could double or triple it if I really wanted to, because a lot of my family members still own land up there. So if I were to hit them up and be like, hey, that one spot on the corner there, blah, 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 you get what I'm saying. Why don't you sell it to me? They'd be like, I'm sure they'd be like, okay, you know. But my wife is in love with the fact that Tennessee does not have a state income tax.
That is nice.
And if you're just across the border, then you're basically in the same place,
Yeah, pretty much.
The only thing is wherever we settle, there has to be mountains. That's the thing. It cannot be flat like down here. There has to be hills at least. I mean, I call them mountains because I'm from Appalachia, but I've seen the Rocky Mountains, so I know what like actual mountains look like, guys.
Man, it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've been to the Rockies.
Oh man. Well, I mean, let's just say that like the tallest mountain in Kentucky, I think, is 4,000 and change above sea level. That is nothing in the Rockies. I mean, that's
I
like a
know.
foothill. But for Kentucky, that's
I know.
very tall. And that mountain's down near not North Dakota, North Carolina. It's like how you got that border where you got like West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and
Yeah.
North Carolina. It's like right down in that corner. I think they actually have a ski resort there. A lot of people are surprised, but I remember some friends I worked with. I'm pretty sure they went to a ski resort in Kentucky. So, but anyway, let's see. Sunny with a little snow on the ground, 27 degrees. Nice. Hardmaster character creation live tomorrow. Okay. I don't think we're going game tonight. I think we've kind of took a hiatus because of the holidays. So,
Our next game's going to be next week, hopefully.
Yeah, well, one of my nieces came by. Actually, two of my nieces came by to visit, and so we did kind of a Christmas thing yesterday with them. And I made out like a bandit because I got like all of the little kind of inexpensive gun parts that I wanted.
Nice.
A buddy of mine, like, I wanted the rubber bands to put on the Magpul magazines so that it says what caliber of round is in the magazine. So he bought me a whole bag full of those that say 223, 556, 300 blackout, whatever. So the 300 blackout magazines now
That'd
have
probably be very useful.
300 blackout rubber bands around so that there's no mistaking. what is in that magazine.
Still waiting on that.
Well, he also got me some canted iron sights,
Nice.
some offsets, so that's nice. He got me
Why did you do that
a
with my
bore sight.
AR?
Well, he got me for the AR. He got me a bore sight for 5.56 and one for 9mm. He got me 2 bore sights.
Nice.
Which is going to help because I'm planning on getting an underbarrel laser for both of my pistols. So and they're both 9mm. So
I'm
that'll be
planning on
super
getting
easy
myself
to
a
flush
red
it
dot
in.
sight. Yeah.
Homemade Italian bread and lasagna for supper tonight. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, we had steaks last night.
The other day we had baked spaghetti.
I like baked spaghetti, or I used to, and that's all I ate was steak. Like there was all kinds of other things, but I was like, nope, and I just ate a big old steak.
Dang it! I forgot.
And
We
then
still have
I
potato
passed
wedges. I
out.
could have made potato wedges. Just
Well,
forget.
no, there was baked potatoes. See, the guy who bought me all the gun stuff, he also bought me a single sling adapter. He bought me
Nice.
a new upper for my 870 shotgun. It's the kind where you take the pins off and then you put this on and put the pins back in. And it's got a Picatinny rail so that I can finally put a reactive sight on my 12 gauge, which is something I've been wanting to do for a while.
You know,
Yeah.
did you know on that gun, the top little rail that you usually see that one sight that you used to have, there was 2 little iron sights on each side. But then they took off that and put another iron sight in the middle, so the thing had 3 different iron sights on it.
It's French.
And a Picatinny rail.
Yeah, the only reason I really know about that weapon is because all of the nerds that were really into the what's it called? The Stargate TV show. We're always
Stargate
like,
SG-1.
oh my god, the P90, and
It's
it's
a cool
like that
gun,
thing is garbage. It's trash.
It's a fun gun. Yeah, you get that if you want to have fun. But it's not
fun because first off, it's not automatic.
No? I mean, if you
So
get the automatic one,
unless you get the automatic one, at which point
we should be able to have
that would be a lot more fun. But here are reasons the PA90 is not fun. One, the round it fires is so damn cost prohibitive.
Yeah, that is true too.
You practically got to be rich if you want to go to the range with the thing. And 2,
mill version. Maybe they did.
Maybe they put them on that show. I don't know why, because the P90 was specifically designed for armor crews. That's why it's so little.
Why it looks. That's why.
But the reality is, if a special operations team was going through a gate like that, they would all be carrying like SCAR S1s, SCAR H's, MP5s, MP7s, depending on what their job was. But, like M416s, etc. They would not be carrying some firearm that was specifically designed for use by tank crews. That's just crazy. Now, my son-in-law, he has the weapon I'm jealous
like
of.
a personal defensive weapon.
But did you hear me though? What I said?
What?
My son-in-law has the firearm I'm jealous of.
Oh, what's that?
He's got the pistol, the P57 or whatever it is, the FN57. Oh,
I mean, that's
God,
okay. Again, because of the ammo type,
right? They don't. They're not going to give you the good ammo, like the ammo that the Secret Service carries. They're not going to
Yeah.
give you that shit because armor piercing and everything else. But
again, I think I'd still prefer just over the 5.7.
But yeah, so the deal is I am basically getting rid of all my 40K stuff except the Imperial Guard stuff. I am keeping my 30K stuff.
Besides, the thing I from the most was actually the GoldenEye game.
Yeah. I'm not trying to poop on your dreams. I know. A buddy of mine, before he passed away, he was a big P90 nerd. He's always talking about it. And I was always like,
Hey, I'll
literally,
talk about.
if you were expecting to engage in any kind of firefight, you would take anything before you would take that.
Not exactly true. I mean, there's worse guns than the P90, but most anything, yeah, I'd say yes.
Well, if we're talking like what I'm talking specifically weapons the military uses left.
Yeah, I mean,
You're going through a
most
gate into an
PDWs are going
alien
to be not
world.
great for
You
that
don't know
anyway.
what's going to be there, right? You're
Again,
following
that's
me.
probably because again, you probably wouldn't want most PDWs at that point. Then,
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying.
like, you wouldn't take the MP7 or MP5 then.
Well, MP7 you might take if you have a medic in the group.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And
But then
an
again, he could
MP7 is way
carry.
better than the P90. I mean, just night and day. Night and day. It's just so much better. I mean, the French have started getting rid of their own domestically designed weapons from their own army.
Not going to see
Like
many
the
Fabrique
FAMAS
Nationale
is
anymore.
out. The FAMAS is out. They're going with the M416.
Well, of
The
course, the
Germans are
FAMAS.
ditching the G36 for the M416. Like, so there you go. You know what I mean? Europe's going with the 416, which for whatever reason America
Hey,
wouldn't do.
what was that? There was a weird gun that the Fabrique Nationale made that they called like the F. I think it was like the FNC, which was basically saying Fabrique Nationale carbine.
Well, you know me. I first off, I love pretty much anything by Fabrique Nationale, and two, it is still my dream one day to save up enough money, crafting gamer, what's up, homie, and buy myself a Scar S1 or an H.
Yeah, that would be cool. I could have actually bought a Scar at one point.
With the 7.62.
I don't know if it would have been the 7.62 one, but I think it was like the Scar. I could have afforded the Scar 17.
Yeah, that might be the. I don't know, actually. I know the S17 is in 7.62 and the H is in 7.62. The main difference being the H has a heavier barrel.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, even though you can definitely use it as, your service rifle, it's also kind of designed to be like your designated marksmanship rifle.
It would have costed me all my money though at that point. Like
right now, you can pick up a Scar and it's still going to cost you $3,000
at least.
Yeah, it's going to be $3,000 at least. But is it worth it? Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
It is the best assault rifle ever made. And what they did is they took an AR and they put it in a room with some Barry White on with an AK, and they let them alone for a while. And when they came back, there was a Scar.
I've heard a lot of those kinds of guns, but they usually aren't really exactly that.
Well, the Scar is basically got all of the adaptability and everything of an AR.
Yeah.
But the operating system of the Scar is a piston-driven system like an AK.
Yeah, more like an AK. Yeah, that's fair. That's more. That's more than I've heard about these. Meldings. I remember one person talking about. I forgot what the gun's name was, but it was basically it was an AK chambered 5.56.
Well, the Polish barrel is just a straight up Tantal AK chambered in
Yeah,
5.56.
I know, but this one was meant to be this amalgamation gun, and all it was just an AK with a 5.56 barrel. I wouldn't consider that an amalgamation gun.
Mm-mm. Well, I forget the company. I think it's Sig used to make a rifle that was straight up like a weird blend between an AK and an AR. It even kind of looked
Yeah,
like the two had had a baby.
I've seen something like that. I think too.
Yeah, and it, so it had all the AR stuff that you want, but it was, but see what my pops did, because my pops has to be, different, is he just got a Cortec, which is an AR, but it's piston driven.
Let me ask you if you'd want to use this certain specific gun I found. It is a Derringer chambered 7.62.
I mean, no, not really.
Oh, not really. Yeah, I wouldn't either. That thing sounds dangerous and terrible.
Yeah, it's like, why 7.62?
I don't know.
Like, if I want a Derringer, like, let's say we're talking Old West kind of shit, I'm wanting like 44.
That would be much more
Like a double
acceptable or
barrel or a
reasonable.
pepper box in 44, something that it might break my wrist, but whoever I shoot it at is definitely not an issue anymore.
I'd be afraid that the 7.62 would explode.
But the Takarovs and the Makarovs, a lot of them were 7.62.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they weren't the same
about
7.62 as an AK. They were like shorter.
Oh, you're talking about the Tokarev, like the TT Tokarev?
Yeah, I'm talking about the old Soviet issued sidearm.
The 1911 clone?
Kinda.
Was
I know the
basically
one didn't even have a safety on it. It was just like, figure it out, guys.
The Tokarev I'm talking about actually had like a pin in the middle, and if it fell out, the whole gun would just fall apart.
Yeah.
One guy asked, "Okay, what would I do if this thing breaks?" And he goes, "Well, find another one." It's like, don't worry about it. You'll find another one.
There was a time, I don't know if you're familiar with Atlantic Firearms, but somehow, some way, they got their hands on like hundreds of those things. I think from Serbia.
Probably.
And they were selling them for like $250. For like old expensive. Serbian. Hey, Jose, happy holidays to you, sir. All of them. And yeah, they were selling them for like nothing. But then again, these were like retired police pistols from Serbia that dated back to when it was Yugoslavia. So, they probably were pretty beat up. But on the other hand, they were dirt cheap. You know what I mean? So it's like, yep, you can have whatever you want. So there's something to be said for that. Me personally, as Hungar will always say, I have a serious case of glaucoma.
Hey, Glocks are pretty reliable, so there's that.
That's what he always says. My brother's got the glaucoma. He can only see himself with a Glock. And I'm like, well, that's not true. I got that Smith & Wesson Hellcat, or Springfield Hellcat, actually, and I'm pretty pleased with that little joker too. As a matter of fact, I traded him one of my 12-round magazines for a 15-round magazine.
So I'm guessing
he had a couple extra 15-round magazines.
You wouldn't like the Keltec P50 then, huh?
Is the Caltech the one that's like chambered in 22 long rifle?
No, this one was actually the one that accepted the P90 mags.
Yeah, probably not. I am just not the kind of guy that gives a shit about a P90.
I know, but why would you do that? I gotta say, Caltech makes the most interesting things, even if they are most likely
The heat
trash.
cannon. Now, what I
But
will
no,
say
that was High
though,
Point. High Point made the E
High
can.
Point made the heat cannon.
Yep.
I do absolutely love the FN 57 for a pistol,
Yeah.
and maybe just because it's so neat, it's
Yeah,
like
it's a unique thing. It's kind of
going to
unique. I
heat
can
some
see it.
tamales. Good coffee, traditional holly really.
But with the Yeet cannon, the only reason High Point actually even came out with it was literally they said they told
The
the
meme
internet to
gun.
they told the internet to name their gun. Everybody went, "Oh, Yeet cannon," and
Yeah,
then they're
never
like,
tell the internet to name anything.
"I know,
That's like a huge mistake, no matter who you are.
I
If
know."
you tell the internet to name anything, you're going to end up with Hitler was right,
Hitler did
gushing
nothing wrong.
granny. Yeah, I mean, just you just don't want to let the
Mountain
internet
Dew
do
learned its
anything.
lesson.
So yeah,
But yeah, and after that, they're like, "No, we're not naming it that." And then everybody's like, "No, you're naming it that." And they're like, "Oh, fine. Here's the Yeet cannon."
yeah. I remember also when they were like trying to they let the internet choose the number one song of all time, and it ended up being "Never Gonna Give You Up."
We got rickrolled.
Yeah, the
We
whole
got
world got rickrolled. The whole world got rickrolled.
number one song. Rickrolled.
So then the company, which I think it was Rolling Stone, said, "No, we're not doing this," and they picked a Beatles song.
Well, I would choose "Never Gonna Give You Up" over any Beatles song.
Yeah, but the reason is it was obvious the cheat was in because, like, in the course of an hour, "Never Going to Give You Up" got like 400 million votes or some shit. And they're like, yeah, no, come on. But then, and we all know of the interesting time that Mountain Dew wanted the internet to rename their green apple flavor.
It was Hitler did nothing wrong.
Yeah, number one was Hitler did nothing wrong, and number two was gushing granny.
The second one made more
That is
sense.
just nasty.
Yeah, I know.
Gushing granny? Ugh. Yeah. Or the time that Taylor Swift said, pick a place and I'll do a concert there. So they sent her to the school for the deaf. No, and she just donated a bunch of money. She didn't actually go. Now, a guy who is a man of his word, Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull, they sent his ass to some Walmart in Alaska, and he went. He went and put on a show at the Walmart in Alaska.
There's like 3 of those.
So I have to be like, well, I mean, whether you like his music or not, Dolly, he is a man of his word. He said, you send me to this place, I'm going. And he did.
Yeah.
So, I respect him for that. Yeah, you got Pitbull in the middle of a freaking Walmart supercenter in the middle of Alaska somewhere putting on a concert. Like,
That's probably the strangest thing to see in that Alaskan Walmart.
it's like one of these days, marketing professionals are going to realize never go to the internet.
Never put something on the vote on the internet.
Never ask anyone on the internet don't even ask them their fucking opinion, let alone give them a vote. Just don't do it, because the internet has this magic ability where when you go on the internet to vote for something, your level of evil immediately goes up by like times 10. So if you're a really good person, you'll still be a little evil. And if you're already an asshole, being on the internet will make you the worst human being ever. That's like Twitter. When you go on Twitter, it's like, prepare for evil, because that's what it's going to be.
And when Gaijin brings out a new vehicle, all the secret documents gets leaked.
Right? It's just like, don't do it.
Which
And
is
yet,
what happened again. The Eurofighters' secret documents got leaked to Gaijin again.
right, right, put out an airplane, and then like everybody's like, oh, and by the way,
That's not how that works. Here's all these documents. I'm not supposed to show anybody. But,
that happened with World of Warcraft too. It
yeah,
wasn't, it was like
you mean
World of Tanks or whatever.
World of Tanks?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same thing. Where they added some kind of airplane or something to the game, and they had like all the secret stats that they weren't supposed to have, but they had them. And people were like, "What the?" Plus, it's a Russian company, so it's like, well, if you're worried about the Russian military knowing about your airplane, you fucking give it up. I mean, it's in their video games. They know as much about your airplane as you do, and they already put it in the video game. So
Gaijin doesn't. They exclusively and implicitly tell people not to do this. They'll still do it anyway, and Gaijin will never change it just because of the documents or even.
Well, the thing is, Gaijin is stationed in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
And their rules as far as copyright and stuff are totally different than ours.
Yeah.
So it's like they can do shit and you can't even sue them for it.
I know.
It's like you can be like, hey, you copied me, and they'll be like, ha ha ha. And I'm not saying that's great, but it's just how it is,
I don't think you could even blame them for this, though, anyway. It's not that they're trying, it's not like they're actively trying. It's just where people just send them shit that they shouldn't.
Yeah, somebody who was an engineer on that thing was like, oh, and by the way, this is the maximum speed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, anything for a buck or to make sure that your airplane is properly represented in a video game, I guess. But
I think that's bad. I see it as a video game. I don't care about ultra realism.
I love tamales, though. I keep reading Jose's. I love tamales.
I haven't had those.
Good coffee. We got good coffee up here. My wife, well, actually, I drink the Bustelo, the kind that comes in the freeze-dried bricks.
I don't really drink
Puerto
coffee.
Rican espresso. But my wife buys this Javalia stuff. It's like the super fancy coffee.
And my family just drinks the cheap stuff. And I don't really care for it.
I'll drink coffee. Like when I wake up first thing in the morning, if whatever, I'll have some coffee. But it's not like I'm all like, oh my God,
gotta have my coffee
or else I'll die or something. I'm not like that. I'm more like, I'll have some coffee. This morning, I'm having Purple Monster sugar-free. Because my wife and I went to the store and they had it for sale, buy two, get one free. And they had Purple, which is my favorite drink. So, should I be drink? Oh, and this, guys, this is what you get for being, by the way, Chip is my nickname. This is what you get if you are a badass dungeon master. Yes, your players actually throw in to get you a custom-made drinking glass, even though that's like 5e art or 4e art, whatever it is.
I think that's more 4e. It's not as terrible as at least modern 5e.
With your freaking name on it.
Oh.
So when somebody wants to be all like, why do you think you're such a good dungeon master? I could just be like, because my players gave me a glass saying I'm the best dungeon master. So, kiss my ass. Because my players are the only players that I really care about their opinion.
I gave my DM the luckiest dice ever.
Yeah, you don't want to do that though. That seems like a bad idea.
I didn't mean to. How was I supposed to know? I just bought dice and thought, oh, these will be nice for my cousin and and the DM.
Geez, you must be a great GM. I think the actual issue is, Jose, is I just have a lot of people that got like a really low standard, and they all just hang out around my house. Also, my wife generally cooks dinner when we get together to play.
So you bribe them.
So yeah, maybe they're bribed. No,
To be fair, though, those dice did luck out some crazy stuff for us.
I will say this, not to interrupt my boy Leth and his story of the cursed dice that are probably going to kill him one day. Shauner, who was known for being critical of people DMing, said I was a good DM. And also said that Hungar was a good player. And I don't think that Shauner, may he rest in peace, would lie about that sort of shit. Because I mean, the dude was known for like getting on people's nerves. That was kind of his forte.
Say people play
right?
wrong because
But he watched me run a game and he's like, James does pretty good. And I was like, well, that's high praise coming from that guy. Because he is the first guy to watch somebody running a game and just rip them a new ass over nothing, But then again, I've also been DMing games for 40 years now. Because I started when I was 13 and I'm 53. So yeah, 40 years. And the one thing I can say as DM advice is a lot of times, guys, less is more. Like one thing that aggravates the shit out of me, and I don't know if you guys feel this way about it. This could just be me being an ass, which I'm constantly having to ask myself that. Like before I do something, I have to ask, are you being an ass? Or is this really something you should be aggravated about? I absolutely hate when I'm playing a game and the DM goes hardcore into description of shit. Right. If he said I was a pretty good DM, then I'm a pretty good DM because Shauner would not lie because he really didn't give an F what anybody thought. But I think a lot of DMs over describe things. And that is something even I was guilty of at a time when I was young. But I think when you describe a room, you start out like, say you're doing the typical dungeon thing. You start out with like the first thing that hits them. So you enter a medium-sized room. It smells dank and musty in here, and you can see a lot of spider webs on the walls, etc. Just that, maybe you also see a door across the room from you, right? And then you play the game of, well, my player's going to go look at this. So the more the players interact with the scene, the more detail you give them.
That's fair.
But some people want to play this game where they want to describe every little aspect of everything. And it's like, you know what?
No, you don't need to do that.
It's just like, I don't care.
Give a general description.
Right. Well, I mean,
Small,
I will give a detailed description if the players choose to. I mean, what if you give a super detailed description of the room I mentioned, right? The players sit there, listen to you talk because you want to hear your own voice, which a lot of us DMs do that. And then they immediately say, well, we go across the room and open the door and go down the hall. So you have just wasted however long it took you to describe the intimate details of this room, of your playtime and their playtime. Because in the end of the at the end of the day, your players didn't give a shit
To be
about
fair,
the
I wouldn't have
details of
said
the
that
room.
either. I wouldn't have said what you said that your players said because I'd be like, "Oh God, you're just gonna get us killed there." No, we gotta search for traps or something.
Right. And
Like,
even though I'll let players roll dice when they're searching for traps, which I never let them roll that die, I always roll their die when they're searching for traps so that they never quite know if they found a trap or
failed,
not, you
failed
know?
to or not? Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Uh, because I'm that kind of asshole, I guess. But
I say it's a personal preference. I mean,
typically, the more thought they put into searching for a trap, I might give them a bonus. And since when I play D&D, I use the dice 6 thief skills. So the player will have between a 1 and 5 and 6 chance, depending on how he spent his points or her. Because one of the ladies loves playing thieves. And I will roll it in private. But if they give me this whole, I'm going to walk up to the western wall, take my dagger out, and use the palm of the dagger to tap the wall, blah, 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 then of course I give them a bonus or maybe just let them succeed automatically at finding a secret door on that wall. Because it's
nice.
like, you're tapping on that wall. It takes you about 10 minutes and you hear a hollow spot, right? Or if you're really, if you're going to tell me this is what I'm going to do, then yeah, a lot of times I don't even bother with the rolls
No need for it.
because, there's no need for it. And other than combat, rolling dice for like stuff, you should really only be rolling dice if time is a factor or there's enemy trying to kill you while you're trying to do the thing you're trying to do.
I think I like
But
that.
if the characters have literally all day to stand around trying to figure out how to unlock a door and there's no time limit, they've got all day.
Or my
They
nomadic
just sit
character
there all freaking
probably
day, then
probably
just
wouldn't
let them do it.
know how to basically swim. Not in a dangerous situation or anything. Just know how to swim in calm waters.
Yeah, you go make your characters roll a dex check to swim across a completely calm pool that's, or let's say stream that's, maybe 20 feet wide. And, unless they insist on doing it in their plate mail armor.
That'd be
But
bad.
what my players did in that exact situation is they took their armor off and they put it all in a bag and they tied a rope to it. And then they swam across
And
with the
then drug.
rope
Yeah.
and then they drug the armor across. So, I
Probably not
rolled
the
a
best thing to
die,
do
and
with
on
the
a
armor,
1 in
but
20, the armor would have got lost.
yeah.
But it didn't happen. Everybody was happy. Seems valuable to me to distinguish between passive perception um, and declared perception. The thing you have to remember, though, Prime, is I don't use perception rolls at all. Ever. Well, I shouldn't say ever. I mean, I use them in certain games, but not in when I say I'm running D&D, I generally mean Adventure
AD&D
Conquer King,
or ACK.
OSA Advanced, or AD&D First Edition. That's what I mean. And there's no perception checks in that shit. What you tell me you're doing is the perception check.
Yep.
So if you walk in and you're playing a dwarf, and dwarves automatically got a chance to detect traps inside of rooms, that are built into the room. Well, if you say, well, I'm going to start looking around very carefully to make sure there's no traps, then I'm going to be like, well, okay. And I'm going to roll a die in secret. And I'm going to say, hey, while you're looking around, you notice there's a discolored stone that doesn't match the rest of the stones. And you think it might trigger a trap. And then the dwarf might be like, oh, okay. I'm going to mark that and tell the rest of the group, you know, and then that way they avoid the trap because they found the trigger. And they may not ever wait around to figure out what the trap even was, or they might stand way back and use like a long spear to hit it
Activate
and
it.
see what happens. I mean, you never
I've
know.
activated traps with knives or some other thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, players are going to do weird shit, but yeah, you always, I guess what I'm saying is imagine like how Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings. You start out with the big epic view, which doesn't give you a lot of detail, but it gives you the epic view. And then you focus down as the players want to focus down. Like if they're walking through a forest and you describe that you're walking through a forest, it's mostly evergreen, like spruce and pine and whatnot. And they're like, okay, and they keep walking. Well, you're done with the description
Yep.
because they're not interested in it. So why waste their and your time describing shit they are not interested in?
Sometimes
Okay. What I mean by passive perception, I mean things that get noticed by merit from stats. And yeah, see me, if they describe what they're looking for and they describe it pretty good, it's free. No dice are needed to roll. If a guy says he's going to spend 10 minutes per wall tapping every foot with the, you know, a hammer or a freaking,
out of a
you know,
knife or
or
something.
something, listening for hollow spaces, then I'm not going to make him roll to find the secret door. He's
He's
going to
gonna
find
find
it.
it
I
eventually.
mean, it's there. Yeah, that is a great idea, Jose, and that puts you way above the average of DMs. Too many new DMs
We'll take the rules as if it's supposed to be used all the
that
time, no
they
matter
get
what.
freaking obsessed with rolling dice.
Yep.
And rolling dice is fun for certain things like combat.
Yeah.
But
Heck, for certain
a lot of
things, it
people are
can be
rolling
fun.
dice too much. They need to
Like
calm the hell down.
there was that one time where I got a fumble chain of five. I failed 5 times in a row. Like crit failed 5 times in a row.
How did you live?
I do not know. I guess I was lucky.
The DM decided to take it easy on you.
A little bit, I think. I don't think they expected it to be
But
that bad.
this isn't even new advice I'm giving you. You can get this advice from pretty much all the decent DMs out there, Squirrel Hermit, whoever. It's like, you know, you don't need to roll the dice every, you know,
Every
for
time.
every little thing. You only really should be rolling dice when someone could die. And perception checks, which were introduced in third edition and now are just the norm, they make players just lazy and dumb because they walk into the room, you describe the room, and then they say, I'm going to do a perception check to see what I see.
I
And
don't
it's like, you just tuck all the role playing out of the game.
Yeah.
Because to quote, I forget his name, I think Dungeon Bro, uh, the character is no longer playing the player is no longer playing the character. The character sheet is playing the game, and the player's just saying what number they want to roll. And I mean, that's in my opinion unfortunate. You know, I want the players to be like hardcore immersed in what's going on. You know, like I want them to be like telling me what exactly they're doing. And my players, by and large, agree with that very much. Oh, yeah, exactly, Jose. If you and a friend are working on a mech, say you're both techs, and your character yells at whoever and he's like, hey, toss me up the spanner, and the person tosses the spanner up, you could make them roll for that shit, but why? Why would you do that? I mean, it's one dude tossing another dude a spanner so that you can tighten up some bolts inside some mech.
It's a casual
It's
game.
like, I mean, it's not going to promote the story. It's just adding bullshit. So, not that I'd probably go into super detail about, repairing mechs anyway, but that's true, And my example is the locked door in a dungeon. If you have basically an hour to figure out how to unlock a door and you're a thief, I'm not going to make you roll. I'm going to let you do it. I mean, you might, if you choose to look for traps, I'm going to roll that. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you it doesn't look like it's trapped. And then you can start working on it. And if it's not trapped, so you don't die of any, poison needles or anything, then it's going to take you, 10 minutes or so, but you will get the door unlocked. Unless, because every 10 minutes you roll random monsters in dungeons.
Turns out
Less
the
the
door
monsters.
was actually a mimic.
The door is a mimic.
Yes.
Somebody made a miniature and it's like an outhouse, but it's a mimic.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And I'm like, that is just evil. Like, can you imagine you're like in some kind of, I don't know, maybe abandoned town or something? You really got poop and you see an outhouse, so you go running at it and open the door and go to step in, and it's a mimic. You know what's crazy is mimics have average intelligence and can speak.
Neat. I didn't know
Right.
that.
If it's risky, dangerous, stuff like that, then you're going to roll.
If the outhouse is a mimic, then the whole town is actually a mimic.
I agree with you there, Prime, what you said in your big post. If you're playing with new players, you got to give them some slack because, they don't understand things.
They don't.
And you might want to explain to them the expectations, right?
Yeah.
Especially if, like me, you've got a bunch of players at your table who started with 5e or,
You should see how my
whatever.
cousin, when we started playing, how he was like, it was fun.
Yeah. And you're like, nope, that's not how it works. But hey, you know, and also as a DM, I mean, not only are you the DM, but in a way, you're also like a teacher. You should be helping the players learn how to play the game. And that is why being good at AD&D and games like AD&D is an actual skill. Like a good player at AD&D can be all like proud of himself because you actually have to have skill to be good at AD&D as a player. But 5e requires zero skill because everything that you would ever do is handled by a die 20 roll.
James, let's play Dungeon Land.
Oh, Dungeon Land, Jesus. I had that, believe it or not. I gave it away.
Ah. Would you fight the Dormouse?
Oh no, we're talking two different things. I'm
Oh.
talking about the one game where all the die rolls are player facing and it uses dice sixes and
Oh no, I was talking about Dungeon Land as in that module where you go with
Gary Gygax's version of freaking what's it?
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Jeez, I don't know. That dude though, I mean, we know he liked a little cocaine now and then. So whatever. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. Dude liked a little coke now and then. It was the 80s. That was what you did in the 80s. Yeah, if it's like if a player were on a balancing beam, like an I-beam, and they needed a tool to open a door, and another player was going to toss the tool 15 feet over a gigantic
Chasm.
fall, think the Death Star, then you might want to roll.
Yeah.
Because that's a situation where if you don't catch it, shit could be bad. Now you got to totally change. Oh, my brother gave me this shirt. It says, "Don't be sexist. That's wrong, and being wrong is for women."
Yeah. I've seen that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. He also gave me a purple shirt that just has a picture of Elon Musk and it says, "I said F off," which he did.
I've
That's a
seen
fact.
Elon Musk in a cartoon.
He did say that. He
He
did
got punched out
say
by Mike Tyson.
Elon Musk played by Mike Tyson
No, he got punched out by Mike Tyson in the cartoon.
in the
Mike
cartoon.
and Mike Tyson stole his rocket.
Well, I can't imagine that. Mike Tyson strikes me as kind of guy I'd probably really like Elon Musk.
I mean, nowadays I could see him not being like that. Maybe earlier, angrier Mike Tyson would be like that.
Well, I remember, I don't know if you guys watched, and I know this is like going off the beat for just a second, though. I watched all of the Mike Tyson Adventures cartoons.
Mike Tyson Mysteries?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Every
what I'm
one of
talking
them.
about.
I mean, of course I did. I mean, it had Norm Macdonald in it.
Yeah.
So I had to watch it. But there's a clever solo retro sci-fi called Space Aces, the new guidebook. Has dice rolls to generate many things. You know what? There's a couple of games I've heard that play solo really good, and I think that's actually really cool.
It's weird to me. I don't know. I guess I can't wrap my head around it. It's just weird playing a
No,
solo
no,
dice
you
game.
could, because I can name one game that plays solo really well.
I mean, I'm saying for me, it's just weird to me.
Basic D&D.
Not fair.
The one that Metzer put out. If you buy the red box, the basic red box Metzer basic D&D set, one of the books is an entire solo adventure.
That's fair. Again,
And if
it's
you
just to
play
me. I'm
through it,
talking about.
if you play through that solo adventure, you will 100% by the end of it know how to play basic D&D and two, hate Bargle with all your heart and soul forever. Because Bargle's an evil mage that kills Alina, the cleric that's helping you, and then runs off. So that game created a bunch of people who just hated Bargle. Because F Bargle, you know what I mean? With his magic missile killing Alina. And of course, it had art in it by Elmore. So Alina, the cleric, was like this hot 80s chick. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh my God, Bargle killed Alina.
We gotta kill Bargle. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen that Double D video about that barbarian guy that goes around a bunch of bars and drinks really hard and was really cool?
I have to say no, and that's weird for me because I usually watch everything Double D puts out.
He made me want to play a barbarian character like that now.
Yeah, you know what the problem with Barbarian is? It's more about culture and how you play the character than it is the damn class.
I get it. I don't really exactly mean barbarian, I guess. It's just more of the guy who goes around party and like very strong, very charismatic, gets all the chicks and has fun.
Well, that is okay. And I'll answer your question in a second, Jose, if someone else doesn't. In my game, if you need XP, depending on the class you're playing, you can give up gold as donations to certain things and get XP for doing it up to a point. So if you're playing like any melee class except the Paladin, and I think Ranger, if you, for every 100 gold pieces you spend partying and carrying on in a tavern or brothel or whatever, you get bonus XP. And if you're a cleric or a paladin, then it's for every 100 you donate to the church, etc., you get X amount of XP. If you're a ranger, then it's for every amount that you donate to, like, I forget what, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Mages, it's every 100 gold pieces you spend studying at the mage college, you get XP. And the reason I actually added that to my games is, one, it keeps the players broke, which is good. And two,
No telling
it,
what they'll do if they get rich.
and two is if the players end up like, 50 or 100 XP short of leveling up, between adventures, they can always just go on a rampage at the local tavern, and then the next thing you know, they got the XP and they can level up. And my players really appreciate that, being able to just be like, yeah, we're good, we did our thing. Um, I think I stole that idea from Conan 2-20, because in Conan 2-20, between adventures, you actually roll for like random mishaps and stuff that could happen. Your character could end up in jail, whatever. Yeah, the box that I'm talking about, Jose, came out like back in 89 or 90. So I don't know if you would be able to find it. You might be able to find a PDF of it somewhere, but it came with basically a rule book that had like the numbers, and then it came with a solo adventure which actually taught you the numbers. So by the time you, as the DM or player, whoever, had played through that adventure, you knew how everything worked in basic D&D. It was really an act of brilliance on this, on Metzer's part. He created a basic D&D game that literally taught players how to play D&D. And then anything more advanced than that you needed to know, no problem. You could learn it in the next set. So, yeah, really cool, really good. Even though, because of nostalgia, I've always been a Moldvay guy. And that has everything to do with my mom bought me the Moldvay cook set. So I've got that nostalgia, for the dragon coming up out of the water and the dude getting ready to chuck a spear and whatever. But the Metzer set was actually genius. It was absolute genius. Now, you can get it in print form and PDF on DriveThruRPG, or you can get the rules compendium or cyclopedia. But I think the rules cyclopedia does not have the solo adventure in it. It's just straight up, here's the rules. Last time I had bought myself a copy of the rules cyclopedia, it was like $20. However, because of your locale, who knows? They might be like, it's $20, but it's going to cost you $80 in shipping. It's like ordering anything to Canada. You can literally live in Buffalo and it still costs you a fortune to send something to Canada, even though you could walk there. But anyway, getting back to the thing, yeah, that's definitely DM advice I would stand on, is don't get too obsessed with rolling dice when you don't have to. And that's like that's every game, if you're playing Traveler and the pilot or astrogator's trying to set up the astrogation to do a thing, and they're not under zero threat, zero stress, they've got a day to do it. They can literally set at the computer and F around with it as long as they want. why would you make them roll? I mean, they've got a skill level of 1 in astrogation. That means they're very capable, because 0 means capable. 1 means better than average in Traveler. So a person with skill level 1 or higher in astrogation, unless they're trying to chart a course through a dangerous area while their ship's getting shot at, they shouldn't be making that roll. It should be routine. Like maybe you've got some character, he's 40 something years old, he spent 5 tours in the Navy, he's an astrogator. It's like, that's some routine shit. He's done it a million times. So why would you make him do it again? That's just silly. See what I bought, Prime. Since you're talking about games you can play solo, let's see if I can find one. I gotta move my box of flocking material. Is I bought all of the Call of Cthulhu books that are actually choose your own adventures. I didn't even know Call of Cthulhu made them, but they do.
Yeah,
there's like tons of them. Like one of them's called Deadlights. One of them's like, there's a ton of 7th edition Call of Cthulhu books where they give you a character, and then it's like you read the beginning, and then it's like, okay, and then it gives you the choice, and you go to the page and you read the thing, and maybe you gotta make die rolls and whatever.
Yeah.
Holmes 77, Menzer was 83. Well, when was Moldvay then? 81? Because Moldvay is the one I got in 83. So yep, I got Moldvay and Cook. I still own the box sets. They are still in my cabinet, and I will never get rid of them.
Think I'm gonna have to head off here, though. I'll see you.
I'll see you, Leth. You have a wonderful day, sir. All right. Yeah. But I have the Holmes box, the blue box. I went through a phase about 20 years ago where every time I saw a box set of an old TSR game for sale on eBay, if it wasn't too expensive, I just bought it. You know what I mean? So then I ended up with, a couple of Moldvay blue boxes, a couple of Holmes boxes, a shit ton of Moldvay box sets, and yeah, the Old Geek does really good reviews of all of those. Yeah, he does really good reviews of those things. But apparently, like the One Ring, Lord of the Ring game, they sell a book called Strider Mode. And if you play it Strider Mode, then you play it solo. It's a solo game. And, supposedly it gives you all the rules to, play the game solo. And it's like, well, that's kind of cool, I guess. Oh, if you're wondering, I was adding the front lower cell on the frigate. I've got a frigate, a carrack, and 3 sloops, and a brigandine on the way, or brigantine. Menzer was 83. Well, then when was Moldvay? Was that 81? 79? 80? That's what I'm asking. And I'm too lazy to go into my bookcase and try and dig out the box set and look. Of course, a game we played a lot back in the day too, in the early 80s, was MERPs, Middle Earth Role Playing. We played the shit out of Middle Earth Role Playing. I mean, that was like, for the longest time, that was the number 2 go-to game for my game group. If we weren't playing AD&D, we were playing Middle Earth Role Playing. And man, such great memories of that game. Such stupid things happening in that game. I remember one time the players were fighting some orcs, and my buddy Marcus shot himself through the foot with a crossbow because he crit rolled on his crossbow attack. And while he was standing there with his foot pinned to the floor, an orc smacked him in the forehead. I mean, that game was deadly. I mean, no joke at all there. MERPs, I mean, yeah, you could one-shot a lot of creatures if you rolled high enough, but we are at Mom's house. Awesome, Hungar. Yeah, you could 100% one-shot most monsters in MERPs if you rolled really good. But the other side of that is most monsters could one-shot you if they rolled really good. So, it was like, you're playing that game, you know what I mean? Where it's like, every time you encounter monsters, you really got to ask yourself, is this combat a combat that we really need to be involved in? Or can we kind of, get away and sneak on past? Because every combat had the capacity to end up with dead characters. And yeah, that used to be a lot of fun. It used to be a lot of fun, Middle Earth role playing. I am, believe it or not, guys, painting a Goliath. I know a lot of you are like, painting a Goliath? Why would you be painting a Goliath? That's like 4th edition, 5th edition, etc. Well, I painted him white, and right now I'm painting all of the tattooed markings on, because it turns out, like I've been saying, the Goliath figures are perfect to represent thralls in Tauslanta. And I've already got some people in our game group that are expressing an interest in playing some Tauslanta in the future. So, as a matter of fact, I had to tell one of them, they're like, we should just start playing Tauslanta right now. And I'm like, no, you guys are literally in the middle of an adventure for one ring. I mean, I'm not going to end an adventure while you're right in the middle of it. Just because you're, excited about Tauslanta, that's not fair for all the other players who want to, finish the adventure. At the bare minimum, we got to finish the adventure they're on. And then if we want to switch over to Tauslanta, that's something we can talk about. I mean, I'm making miniatures, even though you don't really need them. But, me, I'm kind of a visual guy, so I like to make miniatures. However, I really overestimated what people would choose to play. I thought the vast majority of people would want to play Thrall or something like that. No, not a single one did. It's like one guy wanted to play a fairy called a muse. One guy wanted to play a blue bird man. A couple of people wanted to play Cimmerillion mages. One chose to play a Cimmerillion sword mage. One chose to play a gnomekin, so a gnome, you know. So yeah, it was like, okay, I mean, kind of surprised me, but hey, that's cool, you know. And you know, I think the thing that's going to be most difficult for D&D players playing Talislanta is going to be the mages realizing that they can cast a number of spells a day equal to their intelligence and willpower times some a number, and that whatever school they choose has its own specific list of spells. So it's not like D&D where you're a level 1 mage and you get, you know, 3 spells and you can cast one or whatever. Uh, it's more like, you know, magic is very different in Talisland. I will just say that. Make a thing about what races. Well, if we're talking D&D, Jose, the best race to play is and always will be humans. Humans are the best race. AD&D, OSC, whatever. Even though one of the ladies I play with always wants to play a halfling or a gnome, and one of the other ladies I play with always wants to play an elf, and one of the guys I play with always wants to play an elf, and then uh, one of the other guys I play with, he always wants to play a dwarf. So there is a little bit of that, you know what I mean? But in Taslanta, because it's a truly alien, fantastical world, like there are no dwarves, there are no elves, there are no orcs, you know? The gnomekin is as close as you can get, and it's not really a gnome. It's totally something a little bit different. Like, you know, like they live underground so much that when they want to come above ground, they have to wear special glasses, goggles, otherwise they'll be blind. And then, like, you know, in D&D, you can choose to play an Aarakocra, right? Well, in Tauslanta, the Aarakocra has been a playable race since 80 freaking 5. They're called griffs. They're just bird people. Well, yeah, Prime, in Middle Earth, you would want to play a Numenorian because they can live to be 400 years old. Some of them. So, yeah. Play a Numenorian and be all like, I'm doing my Numenorian stuff over here. The only reason I let anyone play an elf in the One Ring game is like basically one of the players is practically begging. I really did not want to allow an elf in the One Ring game because I was just all like, elves just should not be running around in the third age doing random adventures and stuff, you know. By then they're pretty much leaving. They're, you know, they've packed up. They're starting to drift through the forest towards the port of Linden, and you know. So with these Goliaths, in order to represent the multicolored tattoos that thralls have, basically I just paint them with very colorful lines and blotches. And then, you know, once they're on the table, everybody gets what it is. It's a big bald guy, and he's covered in tattoos. That means he's a thrall, because the thrall tattoo. Again, that thing happened. The thrall tattoo themselves so that they can show individuality, because they otherwise all look pretty much identical. So their tattoos are how they can be like, you know, I did this thing and I did that thing and blah, blah, blah. Like almost like Russian mobsters, thralls can typically read the history of another thrall by reading their tattoos, So, like a brand new baby thrall leaving the village for the first time to go out adventuring might only have a few tattoos here and there, right? Think like, I guess, kind of like Polynesians, But then an older thrall who served in like the army of the Nine Kingdoms and then served as a mercenary and did all kinds of crazy shit in different wars, he's going to be covered in tattoos. Let's see, Jose. I downloaded the old material from the website. I find that what is lacking is the arts. Has old school comics, hence it has merit, but not pretty appealing aesthetics. I actually love PB breeding stuff. You know, some people might not. Some people, I PB breeding, which is Patricia something breeding. I love her art style. Now, the Epic Edition has amazing art in it, but I don't know if they're going to offer it for sale to the general public now that the Kickstarter's gone over. Which is kind of, if they're not, that's kind of lame, because they killed it on the Kickstarter. It's like they wanted 40 grand and they ended up getting like, $500,000 or something. So it's like, okay, they're still, sending me my full whatever, because apparently when you Kickstarter a project twice, they sometimes mess up and they send you half of the Kickstarter and not the other half. So I'm pretty like, come on, guys. But they've been really like, like when I send them a message, they answer, they let me know it's being sent out ASAP. So now I just got to wait. So, see, put some red on this guy, some baby blue, some yellow. And then I'm going to have to paint his robes a color. And then paint his see, this is without any sort of shading really, but this is what I'm talking about when how I paint a thrall. You see what I mean? You can see his face is right there and he's just covered in tattoos. Now, if I were a really, really great painter, I would be putting like intricate swirls and like all kinds of crazy stuff on this guy. But honestly, I just need him to look like a thrall from a foot or 2, 3 feet on a table, And he does that pretty well, Like this guy I had to make. He started out as a Pathfinder, like Prince or Herald or something. And I bought the wings from Reaper and glued them on and painted them. Believe it or not, this guy is one of the player characters in the upcoming campaign. Yep. That is a muse. I need to put the dull coat on him. Well, the parts that will. I'm not going to dull coat the wings or the crystal ball or the blade of the sword, but yeah. Oh, Neil, how you doing, bro? Dolmenwood Kickstarter. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I'm probably going to be getting from that company in the near future is the Carrion Crawler #4 came out. So I'll probably get the print version to go with all the other print versions of Carrion Crawler. I don't even use a lot of the rules in Carrion Crawler. I really don't, but sometimes I do. And then because these characters, a lot of them are kind of samey or whatever, I have a tendency to mod them up. Like this guy, this is a Goliath fighter, but as you can see, he's got a sword at his waist. He's got an axe. He's got a buckler and a javelin. So, it kind of makes him more exciting. This guy right here, he's got a dagger, an axe, but then when you turn him around, he's got a sword and a scabbard. He's got a bow and a quiver. He's a bow in a case with a quiver of arrows. So, if somebody were to play a Thrall and they're like, oh, my character uses a bow, then, it was over a year ago. Yeah. So this guy, the only change I really did is I put a hand axe on his waist. So he'll be pretty easy to do because there's not a lot of skin. It's just fur. And I'll probably paint the fur with black, like Knight's or Black Crusader black. I like Knock from the Merry Mushman. Fun stuff. And then where is he? Where did I put him? This guy needs his brown wash, but this is a Kinku miniature that became a Talislanta green Aranid, which is a kind of birdman that can't fly. And the green ones typically tend to be more magical based, whereas the blue ones tend to be more warriors. So, is he up here? And of course, you guys all knew I was doing these. These were originally for Eberron, but now they're Talislanta wind skiffs. Yeah, this is Hungar's character. I need to do his robes. But again, started out as a Kinku, but he's blue. Because the Kinku are very much so the warriors. Now, his character is the one that I was telling you guys about that can glide. And because his character, according to the archetypes, gets to start the game with a pair of bracers of levitation, he can actually glide indefinitely. So basically flying. Of course, the negative is he can only glide at the height he took out off at. Like, or lower. He can't actually gain altitude while he's gliding. So if he's on, and I've said this before, if he's on the ground and he decides to try and glide somewhere, he'll be gliding like 4 feet off the ground. So, whereas the Muse, this character's disadvantage is they can't speak, or they don't speak except telepathically, but they can fly. for short periods of time, depending on their constitution and everything. Oh, that's kind of cool. Me and Hungar have been playing Medieval Dynasty, which is basically a game where you start off as a guy and like a noble tells you you can start your own village, and then you run around through somewhere in Germany or Poland, because all the names are very much Polish. Like my wife's name is Sleta Ziva Zavaja with Z's and all that. And then you do quests to build up your reputation with the local Castellan and the king, and you have to pay taxes. And like my character's wife and my character just recently had a child, which I named Oleg, after Vladimir the Great's middle brother Oleg, Rorik. And you farm and go hunting, and you can be a blacksmith, or any villagers that you recruit into your village. Well, obviously you can put them to work. So like I put some of the females that I recruited to my village to work as farmers. So as long as I keep their workstation full of seeds and fertilizer and hose and stuff, they will automatically do the planting and the harvesting. And the reason I put the females in charge of that is I had one female that I'd put as a lumberjack, and she complained that she was too small and petite to be out there chopping wood or mining, coal or whatever. So then I took that as kind of a message, and I put all the females in lighter work and all of the males in the heavier jobs. Jose, do I have any futuristic miniatures? Does this 2.5 foot tall spaceship count? Haven't finished painting it yet because, like I said, I have a tendency of. That's why I have. Let's see if I can show you real quick. You see that mess there? Well, some of it's terrain. That big ass box and the box next to it, that's 3 boxes of the 2-player Blood and Plunder box set. Yeah, I went pretty hard on that one, but it was like a third off. So instead of being like $140, it was like under $90. So they got me. But then again, I have had so much fun building the ships, and like this cell is not shown on their how to do a sloop, but when I was playing Pirates, Sid Meier's Pirates, the sloop had that cell. So I don't know if it's because it was an older version of a sloop, or it was just my sloop was like that. But I've gotten so hardcore with this that like you can see, I've even started doing like rigging. This guy right here's got a bunch of it's got 8 light cannons and 4 to 6 deck rakers. So the little pivot cannons that you fill with show him the Titan and stuff. That's 40K stuff, man. But the answer is yes. I have so many sci-fi figures. I have boxes of them. As a matter of fact, I'll show you one right here that I haven't painted yet. If you're familiar at all with Star Frontiers, you will notice that this is a Yazirian in the middle of gliding, because the Yazirians can glide. if you're familiar at all with Traveler, then you will recognize that this is a not all the way painted Imperial Marine in combat armor. And it looks like he's carrying a plasma gun man portable, which if he is, you're in trouble because that thing's instant death. Instant death. And then if we're talking starships and stuff like that, well, not only do I got like a shit ton of the Battlefleet Gothic, this is a cruiser from Star Frontiers. I changed out a lot of the weapons, though. I 3D printed better turrets and stuff and put on it. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of sci-fi, but most of the people I game with are not. And then, of course, I've got my Lovecraft figures, like this is a Spider of Ling. And I've got all kinds of wild figures, like this guy right here you might recognize. It's a Thark. So from, Princess of Mars. I got a bunch of Tharks. I got Alexander the Great because, of course, I do. I've got, this guy, of course. You got to have this guy in your collection of miniatures, right? His whole job is to kill filthy goblins. Wherever he can find goblins, he will kill the goblins. And then, even though I don't generally like anime, I have Frerin. I had to paint her up. I gave her yellow hair. I've got another copy of her that has the white hair. Digging around on my shelf here. Let's see. What do we got? Well, we've got Slan from Berserk. That's who that is. That is Slan, one of the God Hand. And I have a couple of already painted ones, but this is, of course, Guts. And that during this era, his cloak should be brown. Yeah, I have all of these. I've got Casca. I've got like all of the Berserk main characters. Griffith, Femto, the Skull Knight, Nosferatu Zod. And then I also have all the characters from Dune too. The book Dune. I found them on PDF. So I've got, right here, some of you may recognize this bad boy. Kind of easy to paint Dune characters because they're all wearing just earth tones. But this is Duncan, Idaho. Atreides. And, I've got enough of these Atreides and the different characters and whatever that I honestly could play a war game. Like a skirmish battle game of Harkonnen versus Fremen versus Atreides. And then I've got a bunch of Vietnam War era stuff up there, a couple of Hueys, a bunch of 113s, the ACAV models. I've got a miniature of my brother. I need to get up to get to that. Oh. Is there anything else I'm going to show off real quick? No, not really. Another Goblin Slayer because I've got because one of the things is when I do 3D printing, a lot of times I will 3D print whatever I'm 3D printing multiple times, like 4 times for whatever it is. One, because it guarantees that hopefully I'll get a good print. And two, because then I can give stuff away to people, which I've been known to do on occasion. Like when I printed up all the goblins, I gave a bunch of them away. And I did print up a ton of goblins. But they were the goblins from the Rankin Bass Hobbit cartoon. Like I got this guy. He's up here. This is the filthy ogre that Goblin Slayer ended up having to fight. And of course, I printed out a shit ton of Goblin Slayer goblins that, you know, he's got to run around and make sure don't goblinate everything. Filthy goblins. But this is Hungar 3D printed up. And then I printed him out in 2 different sizes, actually 3. I printed him out in the size of a dwarf, a human, and then a from AD&D fire giant. And then I painted him up, you know, like in whatever way was applicable. So this is Hungar the Starvarian, but as a fire giant. And then I've got Hungar the Starvarian as a barbarian. And then I've got Hungar the Starvarian as a dwarf. So yeah. And then what else can I show you? I love showing off my miniatures. I'm sorry. I'll stop in just a second. Still need to do detail work, but this is pretty much how my Deathcore Krieger painted, by and large. So, yeah, I've got like 120 of these guys. Now, the guy I really need to get finished ASAP, and I have looked at him and not got him finished because I don't know what my problem is this guy right here. I need to get him done. And for those of you who don't know who he is, he's like my second or third favorite human of all time. That is Alexander the Great. Like his cloak should be purple. The head crest should be red. And then I need to do the leather for, you know, they didn't really have saddles. And get his weapon done. I mean, I'm not even that far away from being finished with him. It's just there's a reason those boxes are unopened, because I know the second I open one of those damn Blood and Plunder boxes, all this shit will be done with, right? And I don't want that to be the thing that happens. So here I have a very quickly and needs a lot of work done Cimmerillion mage from Tauslanta. Like I need to paint his face a slightly lighter green, and I need to do his belts and stuff. But for whatever reason, the Cimmerillions, they not only do they got like green skin tone, but they love green. Their city's made out of green crystal, and they're all into magic. Like every Cimmerillion you encounter is into magic. That's just the way they are. They like magic. Now this guy is a playable guy in Tauslanta. I 3D printed him because they gave me the STLs for free. This is a Hazu warrior, right? See how he's got his forearms? That means he gets 2 attacks per round. But the problem is their willpower is not super great, and they have a tendency to be cannibals. So if you're traveling around with another, like a group of adventurers, and every time you kill some sentient creature, one of the players in the group has to make a roll to not run up and start eating him. That could very well become a point of contention within the group, right? The group could start being like, that guy's a crazy person. Also, they're very, very susceptible to alcohol. Very, very susceptible. And when they get drunk, they tend to get really mean. So, yes, it's a playable race, but I don't know if you want to really play it. Unless that's exactly the thing you want to role play, in which case I say, knock yourself out, man. Go for it. No painting. I did make a dice tin, nice. Sealed a cool looking tin and lined it with felt, nice. I am super lazy when it comes to my dice. I tend to just pay the $5.99 or whatever and order them. The only fancy dice tin I have is the one that looks like the Lament configuration from Hellraiser. But that's because, in addition to being a super Nicolas Cage fan, which a lot of people don't understand, I am also a huge fan of the Hellraiser series. As a matter of fact, hey, what's up, Longshot? I recently watched Hellraiser 10, and my review is 2 thumbs up. It was good. I mean, okay, it was Hellraiser good. You know what I mean? If you accept the fact that the film was made with a budget of like tens of dollars, and you're not looking for the greatest acting, blah, 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 and you just accept that it's a weird movie about weird ass shit doing weird ass things, then yeah, the new Hellraiser was a good movie. Or number 10, Inferno or whatever. It actually added more to the lore because it turns out that there's the Hellraiser part of hell and another part of hell. And the two different parts of hell do not get along. They don't like each other. There may as well be some kind of undead monster that was human once but became an alcoholic. Well, that would be in The Last Unicorn. The undead pirate that knew the way to the caves under the castle. He really, really, really wanted some wine. That was his whole deal. He was like, if you want my help, you got to get me some wine. And they're like, why? You can't even taste it. And he's all like, but I remember. I'm interested in the rolling up a Harnmaster character bit because it's like, I've seen a Harnmaster around forever, and I've never really seen anyone go into any actual detail about anything having to do with that game. It's just like that, It's like, it's one of those games that just you just don't hear much about, and so I'm very excited. Very excited for that. Yeah. That will be very cool. But okay, where is my flat paint? I just had it out. There it is. Uh-oh, somebody sent me a message. Somebody sent me a message. Nope, somebody's in the waiting room. All right, it's Jose. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hello, ¿cómo está?
Así es, sí. ¿Tú?
My sci-fi collection.
Oh, well, I mean, TIE Interceptor, yeah. I got a bunch of TIE Interceptors, but that's from when I used to play the game, X-Wing.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I played Empire.
Yeah.
So I've
Uh,
got the named ones like Baron, whatever, and his Interceptor's got like the red stripe down it. Oh, got a pilot in it and
yeah.
everything. Nice. Yeah, the ones I'm talking about are like that big.
Look at this.
That's cool. Yeah, this thing right here, I was showing you the called black, and it breaks apart into like 13 levels
Mm-hmm.
because it's based on actual gravity. So how this thing generates gravity is by accelerating at 1g or decelerating at 1g. So when you break open the thing, it has playable rooms on every
Yeah.
deck. And then it's got actual doors that work and a set of lifts so that you can take the lifts. But this is, I haven't put the doors in it. This is the airlock room. So if you look around, you can see all of the like space suits. And there's also like weapons racks like right in here so that, if you're going to go outside, you can equip yourself. First off, this right here would shut, to seal the thing off, and then you would get into your space suits and go on outside. And then this is the top, which is actually the bridge, but it's inset. So you pull it out, and you've got your pilot and co-pilot, and then down here is your engineers and sensor guy, communications guys, gunners. Yeah. But I haven't been on. Am I putting this in wrong? I am. It goes in like that. There's an actual thing that sticks up and then an indent. See? That lets you know. And then I haven't. Oh, no, I do got one on right here. Oh, you can't see it. Damn it. Let me shift it this way. Like this striped bit right here opens up, and there's a PDF gun in there to shoot down incoming missiles. So if I were ever going to manage to talk my players into playing a game of like Traveler 2300, this is because in Traveler 2300, there is no artificial gravity.
Wow. So cool.
Yep.
My
So how
collection.
you generate gravity within a star system is you accelerate at 1g to the halfway point, then you flip and decelerate at 1g. And it tricks the human body into thinking there's 1g of gravity. But if you want to go faster than that, then everybody has to be put on grav couches. Because if you go too fast, I mean, you'll just turn the human body into jello. And I don't think most people would like that.
Okay.
Having their body turned into jello.
My collection is in another room. If you want me to show you something else, I will need to go and bring something. Okay. So I'll be back.
Just what you're proud of.
Okay.
If there's any particular thing you're really proud of, I mean, yeah, let's.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'll be back.
All right. The princess is in another room. He's not muted for me. I hope he's not muted for you guys still. But Well, I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I am getting some stuff done, so that's cool. That's always cool when I can get a couple of miniatures done that have been sitting around. But yeah, I definitely, as I said, 100% need to stop effing around and get Alexander done. I mean, how do you own a miniature of Alexander the Great and it not be painted? That's just, you know, that's just not cool. B-Wing. I'll tell you what, I hate them. In X-Wing battles, B-Wings got an ion cannon. And if they hit you with the ion cannon, it makes it where your ship doesn't get to maneuver or anything. And it is the worst because you get a B-Wing run up on you, and then of course, I'm playing TIE fighters. Oh, look, he's got his pot, gold 1 or gold 2. So basically, some asshole runs up with a B-Wing, stuns you with an ion cannon, and then Wedge Antilles whips in and wipes you out with his X-Wing. Because Wedge Antilles gets bonuses to attack against TIE fighters. Because it's Wedge Antilles, so obviously. Freaking Wedge Antilles. I had a friend that always, look at that, Billy. Those things, I don't know if you recently bought them or you've just
No, I have.
Oh, I
had
didn't show
them.
him my waifu, the prize of my collection. It's not really. Do you see up there?
Oh,
There's a Japanese woman in a red bikini.
oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, I 3D printed that and put it together. My mom was supposed to take it and stitch a kimono for her, but she didn't.
I think I have something to show you then too. Okay, I'll be back.
I mean, I've also got the Korean waifu. I don't know if you guys want to see that. I've got my Korean waifu from playing that game, which when Asmongold said that game changed his life, he wasn't wrong. It changed my life too, because now I just walk around in a state of shame because I'm like, I can't believe I played that game. It's like, I'm like literally embarrassed that I played that game. It's very, it's like I don't play that weeaboo bullshit. Playing some game to see what Korean girl I can hook up with. That's crazy. But yeah, unfortunately, that's what I did. And that will be a shame I will have to carry with me for the rest of my life.
James,
Nice.
This one?
Yeah, that's Mara Jade, isn't it?
Mara Jade, yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Who they keep never putting in any movies.
Yeah.
Because apparently Luke would rather go to an island and drink blue alien boob milk instead of, marrying Mara Jade and having kids.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, she's beautiful. More's the reason to hate Disney. Because they had that whole storyline, They could have done the Luke meeting Mara Jade, that whole storyline. Then they could have had the twins being born and the one going to the dark side, I think Ben. And they just could have, it's like I don't even want to talk about it. It just makes me upset. Yep. But instead, they made Luke a bitter old man living all alone on an island who tried to kill his nephew in his sleep. I mean, we're talking about the guy who literally risked everything to redeem Vader.
Mm-hmm.
But the second he had a bad feeling about Kylo, he's like, nah, I got to kill this guy.
What I feel is that they did not portray Luke Skywalker in the sequels. They portrayed Christopher Blair from Wing Commander because that guy was bitter and he was a farmer and he didn't want to be a pilot, he wanted to be a farmer. So I think that they portrayed Christopher Blair, not Luke Skywalker.
I think that there was a concerted effort in the studio to kill all of the legacy characters out or make them out to be dickheads so that they could introduce their new characters. But they didn't even do that right because they screwed Finn over.
Yeah.
And Finn, honestly, Finn could have been the chosen one. Kylo is a greater evil. Luke could sense it. I don't believe that, Cal.
Yeah,
Kylo was a little kid. Luke could have talked him out of being a jackass.
No, what I
As a matter
see
of
with
fact, the whole reason Kylo become evil was because I know, Cal, but the whole reason Kylo become evil is because of how Luke treated him. It set him on the path to being an asshole. Had Luke treated him with love and understanding and blah blah blah, then Kylo might have grown up to be a good guy.
Yeah,
but still, Kylo really shouldn't have ever existed. It should have been Luke, Mara Jade, and Ben, and what was his sister's name? Skywalker doing a whole thing. And I think there was a third one too, a third child. And then, of course, Han Solo and Leia had a bunch of kids too. And they just threw all that away.
Yeah,
They're
well,
just like, we don't do any of that.
Kylo was not a great villain because he had anger issues. And it doesn't make a great villain when somebody is so weak that he has anger issues.
Yeah, he's too emotional.
Too emotional, yeah.
You're just like, he gets mad and destroys the one room for no good reason. It's like, you never seen Vader doing that kind of shit. Vader was just freaking
dangerous.
Methodical.
He was dangerous.
Yeah, he was methodical. He was freaking driven. Mm-hmm. He controlled himself and his environment.
Yeah.
You know,
there are four types.
Would never do some stupid shit like that.
There are four types of villains. One, like Vader or Terminator, who is lethal. If the villain sees you, the villain kills you. Okay, this is one of the types that the most lethal. Okay, there is the other type of villain that pushes the heroes against the walls, against the floor, against the mountains, and destroy the whole environment just by throwing the hero against that. So you can see that in superhero movies and all this. Okay, there is the other type of villain. That is the one that annoys the heroes and basically is a harasser, like in Clone Wars, because in Clone Wars, you do not see villains killing people. You see them harassing, making life difficult, or just like Megatron. Megatron is another kind of harasser. He makes life difficult. And there is the fourth type that is the most harmless, that is like Skeletor, who says villainous things, but only that. In the end, in the Christmas special, Skeletor ended up helping kids to do something. So it was like villainous things and helping people in the end.
Skeletor says villainous things like, telling your in-laws that you and your wife are trying to have a baby is the only acceptable time to say you've been nutting in her or some shit like that. Those skeleton memes, and then he's all like, until next time.
Villainous things. And it is very interesting because I was watching because my wife used to love Shira, and I
Mhm.
decided to watch the show to see what she likes about it. And I found that it was good. The stories, well, aside of some cartoonish characters, but the general environment and the general plot line was good for a fantasy environment. So, like for a game or something. So, it was very interesting. Of course, very leaning to the female side of things, but in general,
Well, it's
the
She-Ra,
fantasy,
so
yeah, but the fantasy was well made, I think. The stories, because in He-Man you have lots of Orko, and dumb things, but there in Shira you have a more focused storyline, focused on something that is happening.
you know
And
what? There
if
was
it,
a time back in the 80s when all those shows come out
Mhm.
where it was like everyone got together and said, okay, here's the plan, guys. Let's make a really good show, and then let's stick the most annoying sidekick in we can find. Because like Buck Rogers, you had Twiggy, gee Buck, and it's like shut up. You know, it's like all of the shows always had like the worst,
Mhm. Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like Orko. Who gives a shit about Orko?
yeah. In Shira,
Get out here,
if it
Orko. Don't give
had
a
good
shit.
choreographies for fights, it would have been an excellent show if it had good choreographies for fights. Try to watch one episode one, okay, and try to imagine fights with a choreography.
This kid came into the room and was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, sorry about that, sorry about that.
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
I mean, I've got my dogs going or dog going hog wild half the time, so I can't really
Brave Star,
say anything.
what was
But you
some
get when you have a Russian speaking Pomeranian, because the lady we bought him from was an old Russian lady.
Mhm.
So my Pomeranian speaks Russian.
Mhm.
Like if I'm out in the yard and he's acting up and I'm like, come on, and he'll look at me and I'll be like, Davai, and he'll come running. You know, I was like, hey, Merry Christmas to you, Shadow. It's still ways off for me, but not really. We had a kind of a Christmas yesterday because some relatives stopped by that won't be able to stop by on Christmas. So that's one thing I can say, guys. I have like 3 Christmases a year because as people from out of state kind of happen in, we do the Christmas thing, exchange presents, eat dinner, hang out, play board games, whatever. And then I have what I consider to be my real Christmas, which is in January. But, I mean, on the one hand, it's like, I don't know, every day is a good day to celebrate the birth of Christ, so it don't matter. But like I said, yeah, my presents yesterday, they were all relatively inexpensive, but I got like 15 of them, and they were all firearms related. Like I got a clip for a single attachment sling and some offset iron sights so that I can look down the scope or tilt it and look down the iron sights. And like I got all kinds of stuff, some bore sights so that I can sight in scopes without having to go to the range and actually waste ammo. Because the bore sights you just put in the rifle, and they have batteries in them, and it shoots a laser out the barrel. So then, if you look at the scope, you see where the dot is, and you just adjust the scope until the dot's in the center of the scope, and now you know it's on. You know what I mean? And I got one for my 9mm pistols too, so that when I get my laser pointers for those, I'll be able to like tune it all in without wasting. Because I'll tell you what, ammo is pretty expensive. especially the 300 blackout. 300 blackouts like over $1 per round. So, but
So
anyway,
you're shooting, you're firing
talking
money.
about sci-fi and stuff.
You say, pa, $1, pa, another dollar, pa.
Yeah.
So you're
That's how
counting
it
the
is.
bills.
It's like if I want to go to the range and just fire a bunch of rounds relatively cheaply, I'd have to take my wife's 22 long rifle because at least 22 rounds are still pretty cheap. But well, I guess I could take my AK-74 because I've already bought like 4,000 rounds for that. So, like years and years ago, you could buy them in spam cans, and each spam can had 1,048 rounds. And the spam can cost like $150. So I, over a period of time, bought a ton of spam cans so that I would, always have. Of course, now I find out that that was kind of not a bright. Well, I mean, it was a good thing to do, but the reason I bought so much ammo is I was worried that since 5.45 is not a very common round in America, I could run into an issue. But now, like every ammo company makes it. So, of course, it's more expensive if you want to buy the Hornady or whatever 5.45, but it's not ever going to be a round that you just can't get, So, it was Destrum. Yeah. So Shadow, we're talking about sci-fi figures, and I was lamenting the fact that Disney decided to ignore the whole Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade, the twins, all of that. But you know what? Whining about Disney and Star Wars, that's so like 2018. And then just now, because I was looking at artwork and realized I'd painted these guys wrong, I just fixed this Ahazu warrior because the Ahazu warriors have black stripes, but only on the backs. The fronts don't have the stripes. So I have two of these guys printed up that I did some weapon swaps though. I put some better swords on one and some whatever. Let's put them all on my wind skiff with all of my Taslanta characters. So Squirrel Hermit's going to teach everyone how to make a Harnmaster character tomorrow. Oh my goodness. If those are the original ones, they're probably worth a ton of money. Not that I'm telling you should sell them, but like Star Wars stuff and like that in America, that stuff is just. This I got from Reaper because I ordered miniatures from Reaper and it's Christmas time. So they sent me an evil snowman. And it was pre-painted and everything. So I guess it's a snow golem or something. I don't know. And then because I ordered the Blood and Thunder stuff, they sent me a special resin cast objective marker, and it's like a pirate skeleton leaned up against a bunch of treasure chests. He's all skeletal, You'll be there for Squirrel's show. Nice. Yeah, if I were going to deal with Star Wars at all, I would. Yeah, he's a pretty cool snowman. I wouldn't want to meet him. Be like, oi, my rose, oi, my rose, mania. Right? That's some scary looking Father Frost stuff. Speaking of, I got some stuff I can show not your Echo. I'm sure not your Echo recognizes this young lady. I'm getting ready to put the grass and a forest clutter on her, but I had to paint it green or brown first. Oh, yeah. And no, her name does not mean boogeyman. It means old woman with floppy breasts. I don't know why John Wick did that. It would have been so easy, 50 plus 22. It would have been so easy for them to just like Google search the Russian word for boogeyman. I mean, or they could have called him a Demovac. They could have called him anything. But Baba Yaga? I mean, that's Baba. Baba, that's like grandmother. That's old woman, Baba. So it's like the scariest guy in the Hitman Club is got a female code name. I guess that makes, yeah, I mean, Archer's nickname was like, what was Archer's code name? It was something really feminine. The Duchess. Yeah, that's Baba Yaga. Divided, that's your treasure cut, roughly. Yeah, I can't wait to get somebody to play Blood and Plunder with me at some point, but I still want to get these done first. So, like right now, I'm getting ready to grab some purple paint. No, that's McCrag blue. And paint Alexander's cloak purple as it should have been. Because I want to get Alexander done so that Hunger and I didn't get a lot of chances to play too many games because he's in hospital most of the time he's down. And then when he's out of the hospital, all he wanted to play was like Carcassonne and Splendor, board games. So we really didn't get a lot of time to, but he's coming down February. So yeah, NPCs in Sid Meier's Pirate only get one share. So what you do in Sid Meier's Pirates is you get as much treasure as you can, and then when you're about ready to split the treasure, you attack like Havana or something like that, and you get nice.
This is a game. This is a game called Russian Crush. It is combat racing on tabletop.
Huh.
Combat racing. It is literally.
That's cool. Like, I love that. So you got cars with machine guns and shit on them?
Yeah, they have chainsaw, they have machine guns, they have shields to collide with other cars. And basically you can accelerate, and the more you accelerate, the more difficult it is for you to turn. So, and there are obstacles, so you can crash, and basically it can hit too. You have hit. And so basically the car can be destroyed either by crashing or getting the armor destroyed, or because of the temperature. So it is very interesting.
There is a game in the US available. I don't know. It's probably available down there too that I play quite a bit. It's called Gaslands, and it uses Matchbox cars, except you modify them up with like guns and like ram plates and armor and shit. And then you just play on a table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You can play either on a track, and that represents like a death race, or you can play a highway game so that it's more like Mad Max, where you're being chased by the other guys or something.
Yeah, and in this game, Russian Crush, you only have one winner. The rest are losers. So basically, it is one winner and that's it.
In Gaslands, they did do something that's really cool. If your car gets destroyed, you get to start over at the beginning, but with one wound left on the car.
Mm.
So you can get in a cycle where every time you
Mhm.
show up, you're just like, plow, getting
Yeah.
destroyed. But it's
If
like you just said, you keep track of what gear you're in, which determines your
Mhm.
speed, which
Yeah.
also affects how much you can maneuver. So
Yeah.
you can slide off a road into a freaking pile of rocks and just be done.
Yeah. If
Uh,
you want to experience something like that, like combat racing, there is a DOS game that is called High Octane. You can find it in abandonware websites. High Octane. It's a good game, and
there
you can
used to be
also
a game called, I think, Death Track,
that track.
and you got to pick the chassis of your car and the types of wheels
Mhm.
and the guns,
Now
and you played
this
races.
this one is about hover vehicles. So
Oh, geez.
basically, so it is futuristic. You hover, and basically you fire the other hover vehicles. So basically, it's combat racing, basically.
Nice.
And if you want it in anime format, it is an anime that is very bizarre. Reminds me like Berserk or something like that. It is called Red Line. So it is about combat racing too. So it's
That's
weird.
the anime that Leth was going on about, how much he loves.
Red Line. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is a
he loves that
good
anime.
one.
He
A
was
good
talking.
one. Yeah, it is a good one. It is crazy. It is like outlandish crazy. So it is, even the images are bizarre because you can see basically things being deformed by speed or something like that. So it's the way in which it applies the lensing. It's very atmospheric, I would say, to represent the speed and the way in which it is shown. It feels like I don't know. You can feel the speed. So recommended Red Line, an anime.
Well,
I think
we
it
all
is on
know what
YouTube.
the best anime is to watch.
Hmm.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The message of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is it's okay to kiss your homies.
Wow,
There's
wow.
a joke where this guy does like, what's the meaning of all these different anime? It's like One
Mhm.
Piece. Only by teaming up can we overthrow the evil organization that causes us all pain, right? And then it's like, it goes to the next one, and the guy says what it's about, and then it's like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, um, extreme masculinity, and it's okay to kiss your bros. And then it's like Berserk, and the guy's like, pain. And that's all he said, pain.
Bang.
Yeah, it's really funny. There's one where the dude's friend's like, hey, all you do is hang out and watch cartoons. Do you mind watching my kid? The guy's like, nah, I don't. And he's watching Berserk. So the guy comes home to pick his kid up, and he's like, so how are you doing? And the kid looks all sad, and he's like, Griffith! Because if you've never seen Berserk, you probably wouldn't get that. But yeah, Berserk. It's an anime about pain and how much pain the main character goes through, which is an exorbitant amount, a lot, all the time, nonstop, and nothing ever gets better. As a matter of fact, everything sucks. And everyone he loves betrays him. And uh, then he gets hunted by demons, and he's got a tattoo on him. So everywhere he goes, the tattoo attracts demons to wherever he is. So he can never escape them. But it's okay because his whole deal is to one day hunt down his old best friend Griffith and kill him. But the problem is Griffith has become a demon. So, you know. Oh, and also essayed Guts's girlfriend after he become a demon. which drove her insane. And now she like hates Guts. Actually, all men. She's got like the mental ability of like a small child. So she pretty much just hates men because of what had happened to her at the hands of Griffith. Yeah. And Guts is just cruising around killing demons. That's pretty much the whole anime.
The best D&D movie, in my opinion, is a non-D&D movie that is called Dragon Age: Dawn of the Seeker. Have you watched it? It is very, for me, this is the best the best D&D movie that exists that is not D&D.
I think I might have watched that. Is that the one where the elves are like abused and they're like planning a revolution and then you have
No,
the Dragon Slayers Guild and like the one guy's a member of the Dragon Slayers Guild and he goes around killing dragons.
there is a guy trying to manipulate somebody who talks to dragons.
I might be thinking about another animated series. But yeah, there was an animated series I watched where it was like the main guy was trying to become a dragon slayer and he like was training and and then a bunch of stuff happens. Like a lot of stuff happens. And then yeah. And it turns out like the one guy who was raising the princess or something's evil as hell and yeah. That was pretty good.
I'll be back. I'll be back
Okay.
one moment.
Whereas, guys, I would say the best D&D movie that wasn't made to be a D&D movie is Goblin Slayer. But I don't know if that's fair because Goblin Slayer is an actual role-playing game in Japan. And Bear, the Gen X GM, actually has a copy of it. So, yeah, I've seen it. It exists. Except he says that maybe because it's Japanese, it reads like one of those old, like how to fix your carburetor manuals. So, yeah. Very dry, but still.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you for waiting.
Oh, well, I mean. But yeah, so Dragons or Goblin Slayer would be my favorite non-D&D D&D movie. But like I was saying, I feel like I'm kind of cheating since it was based on a Japanese role-playing game. So, yeah. There is a Japanese Goblin Slayer role-playing game. So, yeah. Like in the role-playing game, there's halflings and stuff, but like you never hardly see halflings at all in the animated series.
Dragon Age is a great game too. Have you played?
I like
Dragon Age Origins?
Dragon Age. The only one I ever played was the one where I ended up hooking up with the goth chick and she gave birth to some kind of cosmic horror. So what was that, Oblivion? Yeah, I think
I
that was
don't know.
Oblivion.
Oblivion.
But I've not played any kind of role-playing game since then. As far as on the computer.
Yeah.
And when I started getting like vertigo from first-person games, because what I used to do more than anything is play first-person shooters, but then out of the blue, for no good reason, I started getting vertigo. Mm-hmm. So every time I'd play a first-person shooter, I felt like I was going to throw up. So I had to stop, which sucked because I played the hell out of Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Best D&D movie that wasn't made to be a D&D movie. Lady Hawk, yeah. Well, it's got that 80s soundtrack, but still interesting. You've got the knight or paladin, you've got the thief, the evil cleric, magic.
It is like I remember a comment that said that Hundra was the barbarian, the female barbarian movie that we were asking for. It is Hundra or something like that. So
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of fantasy movies. I just thought about that. Like in the last month, I don't think I've watched a single fantasy movie. I watched Underwater. I watched Event Horizon like 4 times. I watched Predator, the first one, a couple of times.
I have stopped watching movies because I have been basically reading BattleTech books.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. There's some really good BattleTech books out there.
Yeah.
And I did say a lie. No, that's not fantasy. That's sci-fi. I watched Beyond the Aquila Rift or whatever. The Love, Death, and Robots. Le Chevalier d'Eon is a great animated series, 24 episodes. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was getting interrupted.
It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. We all got families.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish this guy up and then probably call it.
I am being requested to serve some more seats, so I'll be back.
All right. I don't know how this ended up happening, but somehow Bucephalus ended up being brown. And Bucephalus should always be black. So let me fix this. Being problematic. It didn't have the zipper in the back because it was custom made for the body. It was meant to go over the head like a slip.
When something incredibly beautiful is presented and it looks like it was simple, it's just not
back.
simple.
Welcome back. Yeah. I'm going around all the bridal parts right now. Repainting Bucephalus black as he should have been. Because for some reason, he looks a little brown here. I don't know if I dry brushed him, but no. Bucephalus can't be. He can't be brown.
Yeah, the last book.
Bucephalus was Alexander's horse. And he was black. And only Alexander could ride him. As a matter of fact, they considered him, if you believe in the legends, there was a guy trying to sell this horse or whatever, and no one could mount it without getting their asses whipped. So King Philip of Macedonia wasn't going to get it. But then Alexander walked out there and was like, "Father, can I have a shot?" And King Philip was like, "Okay." And Alexander's like, "If I can ride it, can I have it?" And the king was like, "Sure. If you can ride that horse, I'll buy it for you." And he did. And that's how he got Bucephalus, who ended up dying in a battle. It was very sad. It was very sad, but Bucephalus was his friend from a very young age. I think he was like 15 when he mounted the horse. You know what? I might be sitting here painting the wrong figure. Because I'm looking at this figure and I'm like, it looks like him, but I just noticed that on the helmet, which this needed to be done anyway, but I just noticed on the helmet of the figure I'm painting, there are no eagle feathers. And I'm like, wait a minute. You can't have Alexander without his eagle feathers. That would be crazy. I mean, how else will people know he's the son of Zeus? He doesn't have his eagle feathers. Now, the good news is this guy, who I think must be an officer, is done. The bad news is it was all an accident, because this is not Alexander, which means this would be one of his companions. That's what he called his cavalry, the companion cavalry. I hear my phone. I don't know where it is. Let's see who we got. Oh, I gotta take it. Papa Percibo. Living the dream. How can I help you? Oh, I know. Haas was on my live stream. Not yet, but I'm going to. No problem. I'll take care of that immediately. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just whenever you want to take care of the money thing, just let me know. We'll take care of it. Okay. Everything else is okay, Papa. Love you too. Same to you. Bye. Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but when my dad calls, I have to answer. Oh, look at that. Is that the sorceress?
Sorceress, yes, it is from the last show. It looks very, very pretty, I would
I
say.
have a toy I haven't shown off, and now I'm looking to see where I put it. I have Warduke, made by I think Neko. So it's like the 8 inch tall Warduke figure with like the swappable hands. And he's got like the shield and the sword. I don't know if you know who Warduke is, but he was a big figure in old school D&D. And yeah, I ended up, they did like a Kickstarter or something for that, and I ended up grabbing it. So yeah, I have absolutely painted the wrong damn figure. Because this guy with the two eagle wings or eagle feathers on the sides of his helmet, that's Alexander. And the horse is in the middle of rearing up and it's black. Well, that makes sense. This is Alexander. So nothing to it but to paint his cloak purple, to paint his head crest red,
Yeah.
and to paint his eagle feathers white.
Yeah.
And then to finish the rest of him off. But yeah, I can't believe that. But then again, hey, guess what? One more companion cavalryman done. No complaints. I've already got all of his sarissamenmen, which are the guys with the big pikes. I've already got them painted. I've got hoplites painted if I wanted to take a hoplite mercenaries. The only thing I don't have painted for the army is him and his companion cavalry, which is so kind of lame, really, you know? It's like you would think you would paint the hero first, but anyway, yeah, Alexander definitely in my top 5, if not number 2 favorite humans of all time. He is directly responsible for the spread of Christianity, which comes, of course, many, many years after he had died. But the reason you can say that is because his conquest Hellenized such huge parts of the world, from North Africa all the way to India, that when Christianity arrived on the scene, because so much of the world was already Hellenized, speaking Greek, etc., it allowed for those types of thoughts to spread quicker because, the educated man was educated in Greek.
Look at this one. This one is a curious figure because it doesn't look like the cartoon. It looks more like the painting. And look at the painting.
Is that supposed to be like Evil Lynn?
No, it is Catra. But look at the painting. This painting
That's a good painting.
So cool. And the figure looks like the painting, not like the cartoon character. So
I would say, hey, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, I bought that for my wife because she likes Shira, and that's a character from Shira.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be wearing this a lot on screen. But it's just basically, a picture of Elon Musk with the quote. Because during that one interview, when the guy's like, what if people stop advertising on, and Elon's like, well, all I have to say is go fuck yourself. Like,
there is also a meme that says that Americans elected President Musk because of the way in which he's handling public relations and things like that. So
well, he calls himself the buddy in chief because I guess he's Trump's best buddy. They hang out all the time or whatever. So he's like the buddy in chief. He's like, okay, whatever, Yep. I knew when he bought Twitter that this election cycle was going to be lit. I knew it. I was like, as soon as because the only reason the 2020 election went the way it did is because the left managed to basically ban everyone on the right off of all social media. So, and the reason Trump won 2016, I would say, had as much to do with Pepe and memes as anything else, because he became the master of the meme. All the meme lords love Trump. So when they took all the memes away, then Biden wins, right? But as soon as Twitter comes back and says, yeah, you can post memes, landslide Trump. And everybody's posting memes, Pepe and Trump Pepe and Elon Musk Pepe and everybody, because everybody loves Pepe.
Yeah.
I've even got a shirt from the original Dune, and it's like the big tank that the navigators are in, but it's Pepe inside the tank, like doing this. Like, send love to the papa. Yep. You know, I'm 53. He still calls me boy. When I pick the phone up, I'm like, you know, how you doing, papa? He's like, how you doing, boy? Because
You
I'm
fi-
his boy. So he
you
calls me boy.
you 53?
53.
Me too.
You too?
Me too.
You don't look it.
Nope.
You look like a young man. I would think 30-ish, 35.
No, I am same age like you. I am Gen
Uh,
X.
yeah, Gen X, the best generation, right? The feral generation.
Yeah, it is. There was another meme in which it says that younger people will get offended, older people will get offended, and we don't. We just answer, "Your mama will be."
Right? It's like if you try to offend Gen X, they just say you're adopted or something.
Yeah,
You know, they're like,
yeah,
we don't care what you think. You're adopted. Go away. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
because you know what? And it's weird, but the majority of people born after our generation never threw hands against anyone else. But our generation, we were always scrapping out in the schoolyard. It was just the way it was, you know?
yeah.
And did anyone get in trouble? No. And no one shot anyone up, and there was no knifing anybody. But hell yeah, you knew today after school, I'm going to see you on the other side of the bus stop, buddy. It's like, okay. I mean, you know, and then you end
Okay.
up being friends with the guy you fought with because you're like, well, okay, whatever. We can hang out and play D&D or something, whatever.
Yeah.
But this every generation after us has gotten progressively weaker and stupider. Like they've got way more sensitive. Now they don't even know if they're a man, even if they've got a penis. And they can't explain what a female is, even though their mom actually exists. And everything offends them. Everything offends them. It's
Mm.
like nothing offended us. We watched Beavis and Butthead and South Park.
Did you know that I am
We
a
could
little
not
bit
be
older?
offended.
Did you know that I am a little bit older than Elon Musk?
You know what? I just found out the other day I am a little bit older than oh damn it. Now I forget because that's what happens when you get my age. Anyway, it doesn't. Oh, Ryan
Mm.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm older than we were watching my niece who visited yesterday. She's getting married soon, so you know, whatever, and that's cool. And but while she was here, she wanted to watch Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine.
The
And I had
difference,
it on streaming, so we watched Deadpool and Wolverine, which
the
again,
difference, the difference between Elon Musk and me is that Elon Musk is a billionaire, while I am absolutely not.
well, Elon Musk sleeps 4 hours a day. He's OCD, probably got a touch of the tism. You know, he's a driven person. He gives zero F's about anything. He's got that FU money where it's like, even if a country wants to have beef with Elon, it's like,
Mhm.
what country can? He's got more money than Australia. It's like Australia's trying to get beef with Elon. It's like you guys better watch out. He might just buy the continent and kick you off of it. You know, it's like, and
Yeah.
he's well on his way. The trajectory is he'll be a trillionaire in his lifetime,
Mm.
the first ever in the history
Yeah.
of anything. So,
Mm.
you know, he's definitely a weird, evil genius, maybe. It's hard to tell. It's like Elon could be Bruce Wayne or he could be Lex Luthor.
Mm. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell right this second. Like,
And
there's a
the
lot of
line
good
is very thin.
together.
Huh? The line is very thin between both.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know what they were doing. And maybe X can be blamed for the way some of the kids turned out. But I don't know. I don't know. I just remember we walked to school.
Yeah.
There was no bus. You walked.
Yeah, me too.
And there was a fist fight on the way to or from school every day. Not always like me, but always somebody.
Mhm.
And
I remember a
nobody
girl
took it easy
having a
on you.
fist fight with another one.
Oh yeah, and no one took it easy on you. No one gave a damn
No.
about your feelings. Not
No.
the adults, not other kids. No one gave a shit about how you felt. It was either a thing that was true or you were a retard. That was the rule. And there was no, oh, you feel this way today, so we're going to do a thing. No. You get roasted for that shit nonstop. But that's why I think I have such a hard time with a lot of the new stuff, because it's such new stuff. When I'm talking to younger people and they're talking about a lot of stuff, and I'm like, do you know none of that existed when I was your age? None of it. No one had ever heard of any of the shit you're talking about. And now you're trying to tell me that's the way things are, but I'm like, no, I remember when that wasn't the way they were, and
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah.
Well, 50 plus is more or less the difference between the 1920s and the 1970s. So, yeah, so something changed during that time.
Something did. I don't know
Something
if it
did,
was for
yeah.
the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff did
It
change.
is about the same. For example, for me, 1985 was 15 years ago in my mind.
Yeah.
But it is
Yeah.
not in the calendar, but in my mind, my emotional mind, 1985 was 15 years ago. So
It's so funny
weird.
that you say that, because I was talking to my niece the other day, and that's what I said. I was like, I'm 53, but I don't feel any older than, until I go out and try to, lift a bunch of heavy shit and.
Yeah. Or try to socialize with young people.
Oh yeah, can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, we were all joking around about this and that, and one of my bros was like, he's older than me. He's a Hispanic guy. He's older than me, and his wife is like 20 years younger than him. And apparently, where he's from, that's not uncommon, right? And I'm all like, okay. And he's like, yeah, having a younger woman is so awesome. And I was like, dude, you couldn't pay me to date a woman yet that young. Just a pain in the ass. You know it, right? This is like, no, I'm 50. I want to date someone near my age because I'm tired. I don't need all that young drama bullshit.
It is like, for example, being in the last days, just reading books, biotech books.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird for people because to understand, because today people are in the social media and all that. But I remember 1985 when there was no internet, and basically it was normal.
Oh, phones were on
So,
the wall.
yeah, phones were on the wall, and basically, if you called late, you basically could upset people.
Yeah,
Actually,
there be an
upset a
emergency
whole
if you call
family in the
after 8.
house. Yeah, not like today where you need to be available 24/7 for people and reply very quickly, because if not, they get offended. So, and when I was young, I saw older people getting offended. So I said, okay, when I become old, I will not get offended, so basically I will be fine. And no, and now it happens that younger people get offended more easily than me. So, oh my gosh, I grew up this old to just be having the same problem with other different generations. So it's weird.
I just, other than the ones at my game table, I just don't even talk to them. I have some, like, Gen Y, Gen whatever, millennials and whatever that game with us, but none of that shit exists now. It was all made up, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was 15 years old, I could I had like 20 phone numbers memorized. Like I knew all my family's phone numbers. Hey, what's up, Daniel Barry? I knew my friends' phone numbers,
Mhm.
but the rule was if you called and it rang and rang and rang, that just meant they weren't home and you would go on and do something else. You know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
never called anyone's house after 8 because yeah, you just don't do that.
When I was a kid, I was shy, and basically I managed to get the number of the girl that I liked. It was in primary school, and I liked that girl, and I got the number, and I never dared to call her, and I still remember the phone number, but I never called her. It's amazing.
That
So
happened to me once, except what happened is I was out drinking and I ran into this girl and she was really cute and everything. And she gave me her phone number on a napkin. And I told her I'd call her and I put the napkin in my pants. And then the next day I washed it and it was just gone. And I was like,
yeah, yeah.
man. And I
Back to
never
the
gave her
Future.
my number. So she couldn't call me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Lesson
I better
learned.
get out of here and go
Yeah.
see what my wife wants to do about supper or whatever.
Yeah, imagine Back to the Future. She writes the phone number, and then it goes to the washing machine. He
Yep,
never
went
goes
right
back
in
to
the washing machine,
1985.
and since it was on a napkin, it just disintegrated.
Yeah, so he never
But
knew that.
things turn out the way they turn out.
Yeah.
But Jose, thank you for joining and showing your toys and stuff. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And I will talk to you later and everyone else later. And yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
find something to eat.
Okay.
See you later, man. Take care.
Yeah. Bon appetit.
Yep. Thank you.